So now, before we get into the history of our solar system, I want to talk specifically about the bad guys and what's happened to bring us into the space program that we have today. So I'm skipping over all the 5 million years and getting it right up to sort of the last 250,000. But we'll see why I'm doing that a little bit later. The major negative group that we have to deal with is a group that becomes human and they evolve out of reptiles instead of primates and mammals like we have on Earth. So one of the things you find out is there's intelligent life all over our galaxy, but it maintains a hominid form, meaning it has 2 arms and 2 legs. And those forms can evolve out of any of the types of life that we see on Earth in the animal and vegetable kingdom. So you have avian humanoids that look like a human body with a bird head stuck on top. You have aquatic humanoids where they have fish-type heads. There's apparently one type of ET out there that has a head that looks like a sturgeon fish, like you see in Star Wars Admiral Akbar. It's a trap! Remember that one? That's a widely quoted line now because people think it's so funny. Sort of like Schwarzenegger, get to the chopper. All right, it's another one of those really bad 3-word lines. No, actually that's 4. So the Draco were recently portrayed in the movie from the Wachowski brothers, the guys who are very much Illuminati and did the Matrix, or they're not the brothers now, right? They're the Wachowskis. Okay? And what we have here is a depiction of the Draco. The movie Jupiter Ascending is about extraterrestrial civilizations that are around the Earth, and we don't know what's going on, and they're working in cloaking, and they have these tall reptilians wearing leather jackets. The wings are wrong, okay, but that basic form is actually what we're dealing with. The face is a little bit wrong, the jaw is a little bit off, it's a little bit too pointy on the chin, and the head kind of slopes back a little too much, but they are very muscular, they're very bulky, and they're 12 to 14 feet tall. These people do exist, and what happened is that they went around our galaxy and they conquered a whole bunch of different worlds, and they plundered genetic material from these worlds. So they looked for the genetics that were the most beneficial to themselves, and then they genetically interbred with those people and mixed their DNA. So what they did also is they were essentially racists, and they preferred reptilian-derived human life. So every place where they went and found a planet that had reptilian-evolved humans on it, they conquered them and mixed their genetics with the native reptilians. So you now have different types of reptilians that are all working together. Now, this immediately crosses over into the David Icke arena, and David Icke, of course, put out this notion that the Illuminati bloodline families are, in fact, shape-shifting reptilian beings. That is apparently not true. Nobody who's real has ever said that that's what's going on. They're normal people. They have some DNA, but we all do. The Draco mixed their genetics with our own. They were one of the races that's called Anunnaki. The word Anunnaki actually means extraterrestrials, and it can refer to any of a variety of different types of beings, not just one type. So, the movie Jupiter Ascending, interestingly enough, Channing Tatum, who we're supposed to feel sympathy for, has devil ears. And again, this is their belief system showing up. So, another type of reptilian, and these are like the slaves now, are reptoids. And there's a difference between reptilian and reptoid. So these types are shorter. They're more like 8 feet tall. And they are considered subservient to the Draco. They're part of the Draco Empire. And they're more like a reptilian merged with a gray. And this is another type of reptoid that also is fairly close to what they really look like. Well, this is scary stuff. So what's happening is that this knowledge that these people are out there has burbled up through history in the idea of what we call demons, in the idea of Satan. All this kind of stuff is based on these people. Jesus was tempted by the serpent in the garden. Eve was tempted by the serpent in the garden. Then you have the Sumerians that talk about a woman called the Lamia, a serpent woman. You have the Hindus that have the Nagas, serpent people. You have serpent beings in the Anunnaki. You have serpent beings that were actually controlling the Mesoamerican step pyramids and demanding human sacrifice. Now, here's one of the things that I'm going to leak for you that's brand new, that I just heard about a month ago, and the reason why they're telling us this is because part of their magic is that they have to tell us the truth in order for their magic to work. Now, I also believe that in the process of telling the truth, it speeds up a positive outcome, so I don't have a problem with telling you this. Some of these Draco made deals with people here on Earth to give them immortality, using a very advanced technology that to us would be indistinguishable from magic. So I'm literally saying that there are people who are 13,000 plus years old who have been alive this whole time. And what apparently happens is that through this deal that they strike with the Draco, they end up having a super accelerated metabolism, which is almost like a time stasis field that's in their body. And it also is a super healing power. So they are called the old ones or the parents, and they are above the 13 bloodlines. And now this is all starting to come out. I've never heard this before. There's only approximately 20 of these people alive on Earth. We don't even know how many there are because they consider this extremely classified. And they created this relationship with the Draco, making a deal with the devil, literally, if you want to think of it that way. Well, they wouldn't think of it that way. That gave them this highly extended lifespan. They can go into stasis and they can skip over 300 years at a time if they want to. And they actually go into something that looks like a sarcophagus. So this is starting to sound a lot like the vampire legend. And in fact, the whole process of how they extend their lives requires a vampire-like process. They actually do have to feed on living people. This is disgusting, but it is part of what has to happen. And that's, I'm not going to go into detail about what they do. It has nothing to do with drinking blood. That is just it's just a legend that they made up so they could kind of leak the truth but hide the real method. The real method is a lot more grotesque. And there's different methods. In fact, each of the old ones seems to have their own technology. Now, here's one of the weird things. The victims have to consent to this process. Now, how do they do that? What these beings do is they approach people who are in secret societies like the Illuminati or the Masons, and they tell them, we've been here since the time of Atlantis, and they'll do things like cut their hand open, and then what you watch is the hand just closes up again. They'll show you advanced technology. They have spaceships, they have stargates, they can bring you out into bases on other worlds, they can show you really amazing stuff, and what they do is they say, I need you to help me because I'm here to guard over the planet and just watch everything and make sure that everything goes the way we want it to go, and I need your help. But once these people consent to being killed, what I've heard is that the death is horrible, and it's not a comfortable thing at all. They try to make it go quickly, but it's very disgusting. So I would definitely say you do not want to consent to the Illuminati Atlantean vampire if the vampire wants the equivalent of your blood. You know, I'm really thirsty here. Just hold on a second. That is very refreshing. I feel so rejuvenated. What does he mean? Why did he do that? I'm just screwing with you. I am not an Illuminati Atlantean vampire, I promise. That's only watermelon juice. So, yeah, superheroes like Wolverine and the X-Men, they don't have a metal chassis inside, but that is a depiction, that's a semi-disclosure where they kind of tell you the truth. This is what these guys are like. And some of them look a little different. You couldn't just see one of these people because they come from previous human civilizations that had left the Earth, and they don't really look exactly like us. They look like a human, but they're odd. Like their eyes are really strange. Like one of them that my insider met, he kind of looks Asian, but he doesn't look like anybody we see. Some of them's eyes are a little bit too big. So they'll show you whatever they can to get you interested to want to help them out. And you actually can kill them, but you have to separate the brain from the spinal column completely. You have to separate it off, and that was depicted, because again, they have to tell us what they're doing. That's part of the magic, in the movie Highlander. If you think about the movie Highlander, in order to kill one of these Highlanders, you have to behead him. And so there's a lot of disclosure in that movie. And unfortunately, I've tried to get the movie. When I watched it, I was a kid. I didn't know what was going on. Now I know to see it, but it's not available on any of the streaming audio things, and I'm not going to download, BitTorrent, because I don't want to get the karma of that. So I probably need to buy the DVD. I got to go back and watch that movie again now. In the movie Jupiter Ascending, there is a ruling caste of interplanetary humans who use this liquid that they bathe in that's made from human beings. And that's how they rejuvenate themselves and stay perpetually young. And here's two different scenes of the royals bathing in this serum that's made of people. And so that's the sicko kind of stuff that this movie went into. So the parents actually are sort of like the unofficial but real heads of the Illuminati, known to no one until this was leaked to me very recently. But they also have groups that help coordinate, and this is before the 13 bloodlines. This is higher than that. Family Masters is the highest level. Then you have trustees. Then you have operatives, and there's a larger number of those. The other two groups, there's only a very small number of them. And then below that, you get your 13 Illuminati bloodline, and those are called the fathers and or the houses. Now, there are names of the Illuminati bloodlines that have been put out on the internet that are wrong. I'm going to give you the correct 13 names. This is another thing that was leaked recently that could get me in a lot of trouble, but because their magic requires our consent, they have to tell us what the real names are. And they also are expecting, by the way, that there's going to be some massive event on Earth where they will be betrayed and they will be defeated, exposed, betrayed, and defeated. But that in the aftermath of that, their religious belief is that they will resurrect and their gods will come to save them and they will set up their new world order. So they have been taught that they have to actually die, to be exposed, to go on trial, to be sentenced, and to be killed by beheading. In the case of the old ones, the others don't have to have that happen. They would die normally. But these top 20 would have to be beheaded, and that they would then come back. Now, the old ones, or the parents, have had stargates and advanced craft the entire time, and they hid this from the rest of the Illuminati up until very recently. And so a lot of people are really pissed off right now because they did not tell anybody below their own little tiny, tiny circle and the Draco that they actually have had the ability to come and go this whole time, all these years, thousands of years. Now, this is the kind of stuff I could not make up, okay? The Pinder is the head of the cabal. That's the name of the top person in the 13 bloodlines. And that's what we're now calling Illuminati, would be these 13 bloodlines, the houses. What does Pinder actually mean? It's pretty weird. It means the pinnacle of the Draco, i.e. the number one representative on Earth of the Draco. It also means the penis of the dragon. Now please, Foot, don't go doing that again. The current Pinder, the leader of the Illuminati, now we're being told, is the Rothschild family, so we don't need to look any farther than that. The only guys above the Rothschilds here on Earth would be these old ones, and the family masters and the trustees, but then the Pinder, of course, is the Rothschild, so that's why that name is so prominent. Now, here's the funny thing. The good guy ETs have come back recently, and I don't know why we got a little, oh, that went away, good. We had a little feedback. They have been betrayed by the Draco. This just happened in the last month. The Draco have been cornered, and there's something that's been created around our solar system called the barrier, and all the Draco that are inside our solar system cannot get out. And they are afraid of whatever this arrest scenario is going to be, because they will be held on trial as responsible for these crimes against humanity that they've perpetrated. They do not want this to happen, and they tried to strike a deal with the positive beings saying, if you let us go, we will offer everybody below our own royal caste in surrender to you, to the Alliance. That means the royals are only these 12 to 14 foot tall reptilians. That means they were going to betray the old ones, all of their supplicants who have done this vampire-type process to gain immortality. That means all the 13 bloodlines. That means the Committee of 300, all the top Illuminati, everybody human was betrayed, and this just happened. So the Illuminati is in terrible state of disarray right now. Everything is going nuts. All these sub-factions are forming, and what's going to happen most likely is that they're all going to start exposing each other and betraying each other. So this year is very interesting. This Draco betrayal just happened. It has spread through the ranks. It is very real, and it has changed the game dramatically.